What's up? It's your girl Sabrina the Model, and I am listening to the Urban Paranormal Podcast.
What's up, man? It's your big brother Krino, and right now y'all are checking out Urban Paranormal Podcast. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tom Sizemore, and I'm listening to Urban Paranormal Podcast.
Paranormal Fuck, man.
Just start over.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Urban Paranormal Podcast. You know, right now you have me, your host, JH.
And I'm your moderator, Trent A. Johnson.
Co-host, The Daily Dose of Brandy.
And right across from me, we have the beautiful Miss Warchild Cody. She's returned.
Oh, yeah. She's another repeat offender.
Another
on the show.
repeat offender.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's
Addictive. It's addictive.
Right?
Yeah.
You forgot to say, this is the Urban Paranormal Podcast where you might be crazy to them, but
your
family to
us.
us. Hey, it's going down. We got a very special guest in the house tonight, man.
Hey, it's the legendary Houston legend. Lyrically, this man is off the chain. He's a philosopher. He's a writer, man. And he's Mr. K.
To the Reno, the
There you
rap
go.
god.
The rap god.
What's going on, K. Reno?
I'm blessed, man, and just happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me on y'all
Thank you
platform.
for coming,
Already,
man.
already,
I'm
man.
honored to be here.
Yeah.
Oh,
No
yeah.
doubt.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
It's a
ma'am.
blessing.
Thank you so much for coming out.
We are honored to have you here.
Exactly. Here go the thing, man. Everybody at home, you really need to listen to Mr. Reno's music. It's very enlightening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, enlightening, for real, for real. So today, Mr. Reno, we talking about so many different things in this game of rap music and everything because, you know, a lot of the young brothers got killed, you know, and they predicted their deaths, you know. And I think the argument, not argument, but the conversation that Trent and I were having was, is it true? Like, you can predict or talk your death.
Speak your death into existence.
Yeah, speak your death into existence. Is it, you think that's possible?
Yeah, you can speak anything into existence. So
Yes.
if you can speak success, you can speak death, you can speak failure. It just all depends on the state of your mind.
Right.
If you believe in yourself and have confidence, then you can walk into greatness. But if you have self-doubt and disbelief, and you can walk into failure. And as rappers, when we try to portray that image of I'm not scared to die or this and that,
Right.
then you writing those actual words out and
Right.
you projecting that out into the universe. And at some point, if you don't reverse the direction of that, then you can walk into that. So yeah, I believe in that.
Whoa, wow.
Most
Well,
definitely.
here go the thing. I had a question. You know, there's a song that you have, and it's The Experiment.
Right.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's so many things that you speak and that you say in there, okay? And you're doing it from a different perspective. So I love that too. But it makes me wonder though, like, do you truly believe like that maybe the industry is being, or the people based off the song is being controlled by the spirits, gods, or whatever they call them, Illuminati, you know? Because they like worship all these things or something, right, Trent? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I was wondering, do you honestly believe that that is actually happening?
Yeah, no, I don't believe that it's being controlled by spirits. I believe it's being controlled by men
Yeah.
who practice those types of rituals and who believe in those types of ways. So they actually do experiment on the people. Man has always been about experimentation, whether it's
Right.
for the good or for the bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what we do. We have to figure out what's what, so we do it through a process of experimentation. Unfortunately, there are times where people take the experimentation too far and they use it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Right.
And the more we discover and the more knowledge that we get, we have to have the humility to be able to properly utilize it, because you turn into what's called a mad scientist,
Right.
instead of just a scientist that uses it for the better. So
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But see, now, here go the thing though. In that song, and I love it because it's another part of my question here that has to do with paranormal.
Right.
At the very end, it was this huge punchline, the same punchline that I remember that blew me away when I watched Twilight Zone. But I heard to hear it, and at the end when you said, "Hell, that's already been done on a planet called Earth."
right.
That in itself says that the perspective you were taking were for some people that weren't from Earth.
Right.
So my question is, do you honestly believe in the fact that there might be aliens or different things that's here in your songs that's kind of controlling us?
Well, let me say this. I'm a big Twilight Zone fan myself. So I saw an episode of Twilight Zone that resembled that. Where they were experiment. The aliens were experimenting.
okay.
So it was based off of that premise when I wrote that song.
Okay.
But as far as just having those what we would call alien entities that may resemble us in how we look, or may resemble us in how they run civilizations, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I don't deny it because I don't know, but I'm a subscriber to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he does teach that there are planets in our solar system that are inhabited. Now, he didn't necessarily say inhabited by what or what forms of life, but he did say inhabited. So that's why I won't dismiss. But the thing is, when you talk about that song, The Experiment, I look at that based on what we've already seen in our time being here, where they take technology, where they take medicine and all these different things, and they literally distribute them out to the people to see what the reaction will be and see what the responses will be. They do it in terms of creating situations of poverty. Let's place this particular group of people in this setting and see how they behave. See if they'll start killing each other. So those are things that I absolutely believe in, but I believe that they're being done by people.
By people.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I have a quick question for you. Do you think what makes music even so more dangerous is that artists have such huge followings? When you put all these people in one place, and those lyrics, if they're projecting negativity, you have all of these people gathered in one place chanting basically these lyrics. Do you think that that's what makes negative lyrics so much more dangerous?
Yeah, if the negative lyrics are placed within a context of a song that's what we call jamming, then it can actually have that influence. That vibration can actually hit in those words, because we can lay out any words and place them in a way that sound good, and they can influence people, for the good or for the worse. But on the bigger scale, again, I put the most of the emphasis on the people who are distributing that kind of music, who are allowing that kind of music to get out, because it couldn't have the reach that it had if it weren't for those guys who's sitting in the high seat and said, okay, you know what, we'll put this out. But we won't put out any music that is positive or conscious like that.
Right.
So
But
we got to go to the root of everything.
But don't you think at some point that us as people or consumers have to stop accepting that type of music?
If it's
that
not,
corrupts.
if it's not for you, then absolutely you shouldn't accept it. But the people who are accepting it, the people who are consuming it, they like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a different. We coming from two different thought processes. We're looking at it as older people who've been in the game, who've seen all the different changes in music, and where we say, man, look, nah, that's not good for us.
Yeah.
But if you're 17, if you're 19, you're 20, then you may not be on that level of thinking yet. You're like, man, it's jamming. That's what we like. We like to talk about head busting and getting high and getting drunk, and these things resonate with them because they haven't matured yet. So if there's any blame to be placed on the thought process that's taking place among the youth, then it has to go on us. Right. Because somewhere along the line we dropped the ball in teaching them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on that note too, but I kind of think that us as people have to change the music. That's just my thoughts.
I agree with that too. See, that's where personal responsibility comes in.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, we know right from wrong.
Yeah.
And we have to grow to a point where we are able to distinguish reality from the fantasy. It's like watching a movie and then, I'm not gonna go outside and try to do what they were doing in the movie.
Exactly.
I watch a bank, I'm watching Set It Off, I'm not gonna go out. But that's me.
Yeah.
But it may influence
Some people.
somebody else to
Because that
actually
happened.
go out. It happens. So
Yeah.
it's so many different levels to it, all based on where a person's head is and their
Yeah.
condition at the time.
And I basically believe that music is much more than just words and sounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Oh,
it
yeah.
affects you in more ways than you even know. I mean, like,
Your senses, you're not just hearing it, you're seeing it, your videos, what's coming out, you're feeling it. When you say I
Yeah,
feel it,
yeah.
like there's certain songs that make me want to do certain things, like Killing in the Name of makes me
Yeah.
want to get up and just drop kick a
Exactly.
TV for no reason, just
And-
because it's like, it makes me feel a certain way.
yeah. I think
And
certain
when-
tones have power.
When people work out, you know, you want to get you got that song that you play that gets you in the mood, or when you're getting dressed and you have that theme song and you're like,
Music is a vibration.
Yeah.
yeah,
and,
it
and
makes
the sounds
you feel.
resonate, and also you can become one with it,
Oh, yeah.
and it could be negative or positive. You can become one with it, because a lot of times we put so much emphasis and focus on the negative effects that certain music has, but I would venture to say that on a whole, music has had more of a positive effect on the people than it has a negative effect, because so many people are inspired by great artists, you know, that have come along and have made songs that have changed the thought process of generations,
Yeah.
that have shaped cultures for the better.
Yeah.
So it's just about those that percentage that may be still participating in the negative side of it. It's about trying to educate them the best we can. If they don't take it, then it's on them.
Yeah.
Right.
But we still have to make sure that at the end of the day, we do our job, so whatever blood comes along, it's not on our hands.
Yeah. Well, I seen something interesting. I forgot where I seen it, and the guy was like, he was asking this guy at a record label, hypothetically, he was like, okay, I have this artist, and he talks about killing dogs. Can we put this on your radio station? He's like, fuck no. Okay, well, I have this this artist. He talks about killing kids. Can we put this on your radio station? Fuck no. Well, I got this artist that talk about killing black people all day. Hell yeah, bring all of them.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you what that is, because, like I say again, that speaks to the agenda. I was speaking on one of my YouTube videos, and I mentioned this meeting that allegedly took place in the early 90s.
Okay.
And it was labeled, the article that I read, it was labeled the meeting that changed the music industry forever.
Yeah.
And in that meeting, there was a record executive that was explaining how he was invited to this mansion with all these executives, but also with the executives, they had a bunch of other people that they had no knowledge of who they were, but they found out later that they were investors who were getting ready to build private prisons.
Wow.
And while they were getting ready to build these private prisons, they had to petition to the record executives that, look, in order for us to profit from these private prisons that we're getting ready to build, we have to create a circumstance that will ensure that we fill those prisons. And in doing that, what better way can we do it? We have to change the direction of rap music and allow what you just said, allow gangbanging music, drug selling music, drug using, materialism. Those things have to be pushed to the forefront that will subsequently influence the youth to do it,
Yeah.
which will subsequently lead them to be arrested, go to prison, mission accomplished. So it's absolutely an agenda to lock up black people and lock up black youth and to put them in jail. And what better outlet to do it through hip hop? So that's a fact. That's been going on forever, because we can remember when you would hear conscious music on the radio.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you didn't hear that anymore.
don't hear it
So so the thing is, when you talked about the dogs and all that, first thing I thought about was Michael Vick.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll lock this brother up because you ain't gonna kill no dogs.
Yeah.
But we can talk about killing each other all day long, and we can make profit off of that. Too Short spoke about a time, we all know how Too Short rapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too Short spoke about a time where he went to his label, which was Jive Records at the time, and said he wanted to make an entire album filled with songs like The Ghetto. Remember he came out with The Ghetto?
Yeah.
And that's a positive, uplifting song. The label was like, nah, we need you to keep being
They
Too
need him
Short.
to
We still need
bitch.
that,
Yeah.
right? So,
Right.
there is an agenda. Absolutely, it's an agenda. It's profitable, and it serves the purpose to keep young black people circulating through that revolving door, which is the prison industrial complex.
Okay, well, I want to switch gears a little bit. Do all the Satanist imagery in hip hop, do you think that there's an Illuminati or whoever powers that be behind this, or is it just something to create attention to bring in fans? What do you think about that?
That's a great question, because that's been a debate that's been going on forever in music.
Yeah.
When an artist reaches a certain level of success, I mean, those highest of heights.
Yeah.
The first thing people are gonna say, "Oh, they got him.
Right.
He's Illuminati."
Right.
Then when they come out to perform on the Grammys or they come out to perform on the big award shows, there's always this symbolism that you may see somewhere in the background of their performance, and they say, "Okay, yep, they're paying their homage. They're going through their rituals." But the fact of the matter is, until you know, you really don't know.
Yeah.
We can just speculate. But one thing that I will say is that no artist is gonna reach those types of heights without the permission of somebody that's putting those strings. Because you're not gonna get to be $300, $400, $500, $600 million in the game and have all this status without being permitted to do so. You don't do that just through the regular grind like we rap about. So again, there are people in place that control this thing. I can't speak for artists and say, well, he's a part of this, he's a part of this. Now, will he contribute to the agenda? Could he be doing it subconsciously? Yeah, absolutely. Or could he believe in it himself and say, you know what? Let me put my little petition out there to see if they'll accept, because I want to be up there with that guy. So, you know, that there's so many ways to look at it.
Okay, so I have a question. Do you think that being a successful independent artist with a huge following, because you have a pretty huge following, I had looked into some of your stuff.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Do you think having that successful following and being an independent artist and not willing to sell your soul to the devil, as they say, or the higher powers, do you think that makes the higher powers or the Illuminati fearful in a sense of people who are successful and independent?
I don't think it makes them fearful, because again, they have the power to bring up whoever they want to bring up. In the same way they have the power to bring up who they want to bring up, they have the power to suppress whoever they want to suppress. So if they see a young artist coming up and he's conscious and he's building up a following and he's starting to change people's minds for the better, they have the power to not let him in those mainstream doors to where he'll never be able to touch millions and millions of people. They don't fear, they are aware that he's there, but they create the ceiling so he can only get so high. So they don't worry about that.
Well, I've often wondered, because especially here recently, because we have had a lot of successful people coming up whom haven't exactly, or doesn't appear that they've sold their soul to the devil in a sense, as they say. There's been a lot of murders and killings going on. So I've often wondered if that is like a behind the scene thing where they're like, you're not willing to, come to our level. You don't want to sign with us. You don't want to do what we want you to do. So we're just going to knock you off.
That's always been conversation. That's always been the rumor that's like, okay, we need you to contribute to our agenda. And if you don't, this will be the consequence. I don't know if that actually happens like that.
Right.
But at the same token, there is a level of personal responsibility that a lot of our young artists have to have, because you have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to just be an artist or you're going to still keep yourself tied to these streets out here, which continues to put you in positions where you could lose your life or get jammed up and go to prison. So
Most definitely.
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, here go the thing. I had when you say personal responsibility, I do get that. But I try to look at everything that's going on, because I'm that kind of guy that's out of space. So I look at everything that's going on in the music industry. Right. Yeah, in the music industry, and I see the symbolism, the devils and all of that. Yeah. So, and then I believe in, I guess the higher up presidents and people behind them, they go on secret little rituals. Yeah. All of these things. It's a supernatural situation, and that's how I look at it to myself. And when you say you think that they're people, but you just made the statement that they wouldn't let you get so far without someone pulling the strings. So even when we reach up to that very top, it very well could be some type of like spiritual bad people, maybe alien,
Well,
maybe something.
I think that they believe that.
And that's what give it power, which goes right back to speaking things into existence.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about as far as the people in power.
Yeah.
I know that they believe that, but is it true? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And see, and that's a good point, because if y'all are not familiar, I did a song called Grand Deception.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at that song, it talks about everything that we're talking about right now. But there's also a scripture that I subscribe to
Okay.
that says, we war not with flesh and blood,
Yeah.
but against principalities and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, those high places can represent what we think is those executive suites.
Yeah.
But the high place also can represent the mind.
Yeah.
This is the highest place that exists, is the highest level of consciousness. So the spiritual wickedness can enter those levels, and then the people will act on it based on the fact that they subscribe to it themselves. Right. So yeah, I mean, like my brother just said, when you talk about the individuals who go and carry out these rituals, they go to Bohemian Grove and all these little Masonic lodges and all that. They believe in whatever it is they're chanting to and all that, but it, like my brother just said, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's real, because nothing, you can wish things and speak things, but it can't affect me if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. There's a block on me.
Yeah.
See, if that's the case, then we all walking around here like snipers. If I can just wish something bad on you, and you have no control over it, then who am I? Why do I have that power over you?
Right.
Only if you allow me to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're protected.
Right, no question.
You are protected.
You protect yourself.
As long as you're
your
putting
energy.
out that good vibe, it transmutates, comes back into you, and you get that ball, and you protect it. You don't let people come in, and the transmutation of energies by people touching you or hugging you or forcing. You absorb it. I do anyway, and so when people they're like, "Hey," I'm like,
we've all heard the term when people say, "Hey, man, you got to protect your energy." Protect your energy. That's all that is. It's like, I believe in the Most High. I believe in a higher power. So there's nothing that you can do to me that He does not cause or allow.
Right.
And also the God energy within myself, I have to cause it or I have to allow it to happen to me. So just like you said earlier, you made a great point earlier, you can peep things from a distance and like, something ain't right about that dude over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from that cat, so all that time. See, I think a lot of times we make the mistake of fully separating the physical from the spiritual.
Yeah.
They are intertwined. They work together.
Yeah.
yes.
But we have to learn how to mesh those things and utilize them in a way that benefits us.
It's the language. You got to learn to speak the language, and they speak different signs, to different people. And we were talking about empaths and different types, and I didn't know fauna empath was even a thing, but we speak to the animals through the animals with healing and transmutations. So I was telling her about the languages of love. I just thought if you love somebody, you love somebody, but if you really look at it and you mine's acts of services. I don't go around saying, I love you, baby. Your ass is fed, you're taken care of, I am helping you grow, you're helping me grow. That's it.
Love is a verb. It's an action
Yes.
word.
Well, let me say this here to the listeners out there. Everything that they really just said at this point, there was a witch on here that said it. You can cast a spell on someone, and you can believe that spell to work. But if the person that you're casting the spell on don't believe in that, then it doesn't work. So he said, protect your energy.
And I actually,
You don't give it power.
I noticed like a parallel with rap music with that, because like he said, we had some actual witches on the show, and they were telling us that, like he just said, if a spell only works if the spellcaster and the person getting the spell cast on them believes. So I take a look at hip hop. So you got this guy up here rapping, chanting, whatever, about murder, killing, and then you got millions of fans believing that, and they're chanting it at the same time.
And they believe it because people idolize
Yeah.
these famous rappers and musicians.
Because they're
And so
distracted by money
and
and
I-
ass
Yes.
and drugs and the easy instead. It's easier to fall into that shit than to get right and say, you know what, this ain't the right way. I'm in a different way of thinking, so I'm going to move towards this direction. And then people are like, oh, well,
Yeah,
well,
and
well,
I
fuck
took
you
that
then.
as
If you don't want to come with,
like,
you know.
I took that as like the rapper is actually casting a spell on himself.
No, I agree with that because again, we don't have to even talk about what's happening today. We
Yeah.
can go back and talk about Notorious B.I.G. making an album called Ready to
Ready
Die.
to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked
Yeah.
about that.
You absolutely can bring that
Yeah,
to yourself.
exactly.
You can do it. You can walk into the same way you can walk into
It's a success.
Success. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. So you have the choice to decide what you're going to do. Now, was Biggie ready to die? I don't believe he
I don't
was.
think so.
No.
But
I don't
it
think so.
it just looked good and sounds
Yeah.
good because we take pride in glorifying just those types of,
Yeah.
of statements. It makes you seem like, oh, he don't care. That boy he don't care. He real with it. But in reality, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. So we have to look more. Pac did the same thing.
Yeah.
Always talking about when they murder me. No, you don't
Yeah,
do that.
don't.
Right,
You don't do
right.
that because you are creating the circumstances subconsciously and consciously creating the circumstance in the environment to bring that into fruition.
Okay.
So you gotta hold up
Well,
on that kind of language.
I want to ask you this: do you think that we could ever let that style of music go? Because, and I just want to say for your answer, because there's so many things that we created and let other people have it because we were through with it. Like if you go with jazz, rock and roll, you know what I'm saying? We created it and moved on from it.
Right.
So do you think that we could ever move on from this death culture or killing culture in hip hop?
Well, the only thing I
Good
would say that I would respectfully disagree is in terms of even with jazz and rock and roll, it's not so much that we were through with it. It got taken from us.
yeah.
Give it in.
Yeah.
You know, and then let's give Elvis Presley the credit for it,
Yeah.
however it went down. But as far as your question is, the way for us to remove ourselves from that line of thinking in hip hop, we have to gain control and ownership of it.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
again, you have record labels and CEOs and these people in the physical high places that control what your children hear.
Right.
So they have that power. They are the ones who, this is played on the radio. This is played on the radio. This is shown on the video shows. This is what's distributed all over the place. They have that power. So until we take that power from them to say, you know what, I don't have to sign with this label.
Yeah.
And whatever so-called losses that I may take by not being distributed worldwide, by not getting that look, as we call it, then so be it.
Yeah.
Then once we do that, then no CEO can tell me, hey man, make another strip club song. Hey man, make another song where you pulled up and shot everybody on the block. No, we have to take ownership of our art form because like you say in the case of jazz and rock and roll now, black people created that.
Yeah.
Hip hop the same way, but we give it away based on the hope of money,
Yeah.
based on the hope of a better lifestyle, based on the hopes of those things because we come out of a condition that we didn't create for ourselves also that makes us so thirsty and hungry. I got to get out this hood. I got to get out. I got to get my mama this. I got to get my children out of this neighborhood. And we settle because of things we never had. So a label say, man, I give you $100,000. What? Not realizing that ain't no
That
money.
ain't no money. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so many different tie-ins to this. But at the top of it all, we have to take ownership. And then that can change the minds of the people, the actions.
Exactly.
You hear that? Yeah, he means we have to kill the aliens. No, I'm just messing with you.
Like, what the fuck? Left field.
yeah,
I
you know
feel
what I'm saying? But
It's about time we take a break, pay some bills.
that's what I was thinking. So everybody at home right now, I want y'all to really listen, right? Because this is Krino. He's the legendary Krino. He's a philosopher. He's a rapping intellect. All right, so you guys pay him attention, okay? Go look him up, and when you return, we'll be back.
Hey.
Ego Network TV. Ego Network TV. You tell me. So tell me, What's that network?